Hello everyone, I'm Emanuele from Liga Hyrule.
In this video we will talk about the will of the Triforce. In other words, does the Triforce have free will? Does it have the ability to choose what it does? And what does the Triforce do? The Triforce, complete with its three parts, allows its owner to see his wishes come true, transforming the world according to what he hides in his heart. A good man will make the world a paradise, while a person with an evil heart will transform the earth into a hell. But does the Triforce have the ability to decide? Does the Triforce understand, whether it is making the world a paradise or a hell? In theory, no. In theory, the Triforce is an inanimate object, it is concentrated power, it is the power of the three creator deities, Din, Nayru, and Faor, condensed into these three golden triangles. The Triforce, in fact, does not judge whether the desire expressed by its owner is positive or negative, whether it is good or bad, because only the deities, in their infinite knowledge, can discern and, without fail, distinguish and judge good and evil. For example, we evaluate the events of the Zelda saga, from the point of view of Zelda and Link. But perhaps the goddesses could consider Ganondorf's point of view better, or even positive. After all, Ganondorf must have a strong motivation to behave in a certain way. He must strongly believe that he alone is right and all the others are wrong. We, in our limited vision as men, due to our poor knowledge, with the impossibility to see events as a whole, cannot know nor evaluate with absolute and infallible certainty that even what we believe to be evil is not good, or that from such evil a greater good will not arise. The goddesses do, because they are, presumably, omniscient. If the Triforce were able to judge whether the wish expressed to it was good or bad, why would it grant Ganondorf's wish to transform Hyrule into the world of darkness as we see it in the timeline of the adult hero of time in Ocarina of Time and A Link to the Past? Or, perhaps, must we assume that the goddesses are not fundamentally good, but that we consider them so, because we compare them to our God, who is good par excellence, is absolute love? Yet if we look at the Old Testament, we see a Yahweh who is often capricious, vengeful, and punishing. Jesus had to appear to teach the Eternal Father a new indulgence. Furthermore, as we discovered thanks to a recently discovered Ocarina of Time beta version, the female figure carved into the Desert Colossus was originally the goddess Din, although this reference was removed in the final game, and the Din depicted in the Colossus was somehow, in an unknown way, related to Ganondorf and Twin Rover. So perhaps in the early stages of the game's development the three goddesses were not all in tune with each other. But then again, it's understandable, given that Din, Nayru, and Faor are three separate deities like Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon were. They are not three persons of one deity like the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. There are 4 Zelda games, in which we directly see the fulfillment of wishes. In Skyward Sword, when Link asks to bring the Isle of the Goddess back to the surface to kill the imprisoned. In The Wind Waker, when King Daphnes asks to destroy the ancient and submerged Hyrule. In A Link Between Worlds, when Zelda prays to restore the Triforce of Lorule. And in A Link to the Past, where Link asks for the world of darkness to vanish and the sacred realm returns to be the sacred land. But among these 4 events, one stands out from the others, and that is A Link to the Past. Perhaps this is due to the fact that it was only the 3rd title of the series, and it was the first Zelda to tell an elaborate story. So the legend was not yet been well defined at the time. We had to wait 5 years for Ocarina of Time, and, therefore, what later became canonical, was not canonical at the beginning. I am referring to the fact that, after the defeat of Ganon inside the pyramid, when Link presents himself before the Triforce to become its rightful owner, the Triforce speaks to him. And its voice explicitly tells him that it is the essence of the Triforce. In that moment the Triforce communicates as if it were a sentient being rather than an inanimate object. In the previous 2 NES titles, the Triforce appears as a mere object, but in the animated series, the Triforce of Wisdom speaks and gives advice to Princess Zelda. And later, in the initial video in Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages, the Triforce once again addresses Link, saying, "Accept our quest, hero." So, how can we reconcile the hypothesis that the Triforce appears to have a will, as itself claims, with the hypothesis that it neither distinguishes nor judges between a good wish and a bad wish when someone asks them to the Triforce? Is the Triforce unable to distinguish them, or does it not want to? If the Triforce is able to understand that the expressed wish is evil, it could probably ignore it, it would want not to grant it. But if the Triforce would operate in this way, it would no longer prove to be omnipotent because it would not be able to grant every wish, but only those most pleasing to itself. Ergo, this would place limits on its power. But the Triforce is omnipotent. For this reason, it must be able to grant, and must grant, every wish. This does not mean that it's simple to use the Triforce. Although anyone can become its owner, first of all, it must be found. In many titles of the series, we see Link searching for the fragments to recompose a triangle or, as in Skyward Sword, to become worthy of possessing all three Triforces. Then, once found, it is not a given that the one who touches it will become the owner of all three the parts of the Triforce. In fact, to obtain all three the triangles, one must possess a perfect balance between the three virtues of power, wisdom, and courage. As happens in Ocarina of Time, because Ganondorf does not possess a virtuously balanced heart, he is left with only the Triforce representing the virtue that is predominant in him, that is power. In this case, to be able to use the power of the whole Triforce, he must reunite its three parts. Finally, as the maiden trapped in the Skullwood dungeon reveals, the Triforce has a sort of security system, the Great Cataclysm, which consists in the appearance of a hero who cancels any negative wishes fulfilled. Perhaps, this defense mechanism is the proof of the fundamental goodness of the creator goddesses, if the very existence of the world were not enough. The goddesses choose a hero who cancels evil, but, on the contrary, they have never chosen someone to bring destruction to the world. The Triforce can be said to be like an animal or a soldier, who simply obeys an order. Just as animals and soldiers are tamed and trained to carry out orders without questions, so the Triforce has been programmed by the goddesses to grant any wish that someone asks to it. So, the Triforce may have a will, but it is not as free as our free will. A soldier can refuse to obey an unjust order, but the Triforce cannot refuse to grant a wish even if the goddesses would judge it evil, and that is because not even the Triforce knows the will of the goddesses.
What do you think about? Do you agree with us? Let us know by leaving a comment here under the video, and please continue to support us. See you soon.